Hi everyone, it's the EnglishSimmer here, and this video is brought to you through the EA Creator Network as I did get early access to my wedding stories. That's what we're going to be talking about, folks. Yes, the software is not final. I'm honestly not even too sure if I'm going to use like gameplay clips because I want to get this video up like as soon as I can, and I feel like this one, I don't mean for it to sound like a rant, but I basically wanted to go over all of my thoughts and feelings about this game pack that I've been playing for like the last few days. Obviously, our version of early access did have a lot of bugs and a lot of issues, but I think even taking those out of the equation, I still have a lot of thoughts and feelings about this game pack. If you've ever cared what I've thought about my wedding stories, this is the video for you right here. Sorry, my glasses were rank. I don't know if you could see that, but I definitely could whilst I was looking at the bright lights. Why do I sound like a Furby? Bright light! We're gonna start off in Create a Sim, as that's pretty much where my wedding stories takes off from. And I am a fan of Create a Sim. I really enjoy that they also had Eastern and Southern Asian representation when it comes to weddings and Create a Sim, and that really does play a role through this whole game pack. You will see that in like the actual like tea ceremonies that you can do in the gameplay, the color swatches, a lot of the items in build and buy mode, like they do all sort of have that influence through them, which is really nice to see. I actually like this because I do think the Create a Sim is quite versatile. They haven't just gone for like traditional like wedding dresses all of the time, and I do quite like that there are a couple that you could get away with using for casual wear. Also, like I feel like most, if not all, you could probably use for like formal occasions. So I quite like that it's not like your traditional just wedding dresses. I know a lot of people were expecting like more cuts and like things like that. I actually wish that they may have pushed it even further, and for like the wedding guests, maybe had like a couple of dresses with some bolder patterns on, especially with the world being like Mediterranean and like quite sunny. I do feel as if they could have pushed the boat a little bit more when it came to that versatility. Obviously, I say at every single pack overview, men need more. They had like 3 assets that was the same outfit, but obviously a different turban on, which I'm all for. But like when you have basically 3 assets that are the same minus something, I feel like you should bulk out your catalog with something else. And also there is a lack of veils. I'm honestly not one for like a traditional veil. I have seen a lot of custom content veils, and I don't really like how blocky they look and like how they move with the Sim's head. A lot of the veils that we have are tied to outfits, tied to an accessory, or tied to a hair. So therefore there's no like accessory veil whatsoever. I'm not that fussed about that, but I do know that that's feedback that a lot of people have, that they wish that there was more veils. Build and buy mode, I will hold my hands up and say I didn't really explore build and buy mode. There are some absolutely gorgeous wedding arches. I think there's like 5 of them. And again, I do feel like the versatility is absolutely there. This kind of ran over into the base game update that we got as well for the wedding arches, but I really enjoy how they've gone for some darker like flower swatches and wood swatches. So there's kind of reds and purples and blacks, which is really nice because not everyone wants a super like airy fairy floral wedding all of the time. Like you can go that sort of more gothic route. However, there are a lot of flowers in this build and buy mode. If you are like me and you're not a flowery or frilly person, good luck to ya. There's a really nice like industrial arch, and there's quite a lot of like candles and lanterns, so I feel like you could go down that route. I cannot ignore the elephant in the room for the fact that it does pretty much make luxury party stuff redundant unless you want some of the clothes that come with luxury party, because they have in fact introduced a two new rounded buffet tables, and then also two fountains, I think. So they were pretty much the gameplay aspect of luxury party stuff, which is unfortunate. Some people might just see that as having a variety, which is personally how I see it. I mean, I know it kind of makes it redundant, but you still do have to pay for this pack. It doesn't feel like a hot tub for me because not everyone got it for free and it's not like in the base game for everyone. So I do feel like it just offers you a bit more of a range for those items, which I don't actually mind because I do use those items a lot. And I'll be completely honest, the luxury party stuff one was getting a little bit stale. I absolutely adore the windows in build and buy mode. This is like the closest I feel we've had to sort of having like churches. There's a lot of stained glass and there's a couple of roof items that kind of give you like steeple, chapel vibes. So you can create them, but obviously it's not officially in the game. The fence has a matching gate. I feel like I need to point that out every single time. The gameplay is obviously where I have my most amount of thoughts because it is a game pack and it's very heavily focused on one aspect of the game. And when that doesn't really work the way you feel it should work, you're gonna have some thoughts and feelings about it. First off, I want to preface this whole video with, I know in my gameplay I said that this pack overrides base game weddings, and that's in a technical sense. I just want to get this out of the way. I'm gonna try and explain it the best that I can. I also have a video to go with it, but basically, if you have this pack installed, there is now a new way to throw weddings. It's not listed in the social events that you usually choose either on the phone or on the calendar. You have to throw a wedding event. And that's where all of the events like bachelor party, family gathering, all of the new ones that tie to weddings will be listed under there. That is the only technical aspect of it. You can still throw a base game wedding. You actually don't have to choose any of the new activities in the UI. You can just skip past the activities altogether, although some of them were available in like get together or base game. For example, dancing, getting drinks. I do feel like they're very generic. You also don't have to set a wedding cake. You don't have to set an outfit. You don't have to set what your guests are gonna wear. Like you can quite literally just skip over everything and you can go to the venue of your choosing and you could just throw a wedding like you would in base game with your same base game cakes and your same base game activities, and the game isn't gonna punish you for that. So that's only on a technical side of things. The UI for the wedding planning, you can't actually hire a caterer, a bartender, or an entertainer, which you used to be able to do in base game. However, you can still hire an entertainer if you happen to have a microphone or a musical instrument on the lot. You can do it for that extra 100 simoleons like you've always been able to do. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to let me know. I feel like I've talked about it on my Twitter, my YouTube comments, my YouTube community page, and this video, but I felt like I didn't want people thinking that it like completely overrided base game stuff because you can still do all the things that you were able to do if you catch my drift. But back onto the actual gameplay of this pack, I actually really like the world. I really like Tartosa. I really like the residents. I like the grapevine gossip and like being able to find out stories about the townies and the history of the world. I love the lore aspect of it. I think there is enough in the town itself to like kind of inspire you to create your own stories. For example, I want to create a little romance writer who lives on a little secluded island. I wish we had typewriters in the game. That was feedback from Cottage Living and I'm also going to throw it in here. But I really want to get him involved with the guy who runs the flower stall because he's been in Lucky in Love and I just want to give him a really cute boyfriend that's gonna dote on him and is a romance writer. But honestly, when it comes to the events, like even I'm gonna take the glitches and the bugs and the constantly looping of wedding rings whilst exchanging vows out of the equation whilst I'm talking about this because again, fingers crossed they'll be fixed like right now as this video is going up. I will be doing videos how it looks after release and whether things have been fixed or not, so this weekend is pretty much all going to be about the wedding pack anyway. I'm sorry if you're not into it, but the events all feel the same. When you go to plan those wedding events, there's a bunch of new events. There's batch parties, there's family gatherings, there's different dinners that you can do, an engagement or a rehearsal. However, they all have the same activities tied to them. In fact, the only one that's like slightly different is renewing your vows and your wedding, just because there's extra stuff there, like walking the aisle and spousal kiss and like first dance and things like that. Everything else pretty much just has like eat dessert, dance, get drinks, give a toast. And when you break it down, I feel like the only new gameplay, like in this pack, and I've actually written a list of what I personally think feels like it's new and what's adding something to the game that I couldn't already do in like another way. Yes, it may not have been as orchestrated, and that is toasts and speeches. Fair enough, we got a new item that allows your Sims to give toasts. Slow dancing, another yay. Really, really happy that this is in the game. Really, really happy that it's not tied just to dance floors or a wedding event. You can do it just by clicking on any stereo in the game and you can dance. There's also a couple of interactions that you can do with your dance partner, such as like flirt, kiss, and also hold a conversation. Love that. The tea, obviously, I've been asking for like a playable teapot or kettle for the longest time in The Sims 4. We finally have it. You're able to pour tea, you're able to serve tea. If you are doing it in a traditional tea ceremony, you're able to bow and kneel. That all works. The only issue with tea is you can't be sat down whilst you serve it, so you have to like stand up to serve and then sit back down, but you can sit down with a cup of tea. Obviously, the wedding party is new, so your ring bearer. However, you could kind of do it like imaginary. I feel like you could have like told someone a secret and then just had them walk down the aisle. Yes, they wouldn't have like carried a ring with them and they wouldn't have used flowers officially, but you could still kind of do it in your imagination, which is kind of what I was doing, I'll be real. Throwing bouquets, so there are new activities. Yes, I have my own issues with them, which I will talk about further in this video, but there are new things. Also, like finding message in bottles, such a cute little feature. Absolutely love that. Not to do with weddings, but is an adorable feature of this pack. You can now throw rice, which yay. I mean, I have my issues with that, which we'll get into, but you can do it. And also setting an attire for weddings. However, you can't set an attire for any other of the new events, which definitely feels like a missed opportunity. I've been throwing batch parties for years with Get Together, and basically I'll create the group that I want to invite, and then I will set an outfit for everyone to wear. A lot of the time I'll choose like cowboys, or I'll go for like gladiators. That's not available in these batch parties. A lot of it feels like stuff you could already do with groups or with clubs if you have Get Together, and it's kind of just taking the same element but like I guess sticking a little nice label on it. The AI isn't particularly great when it comes to the actual events. Things were laggy, so if I was having my sim like raise a toast, it would take a little while for like the people watching to catch up and also raise their glasses. But I just want like Sims to do stuff more randomly. It's so micromanaged, like to the point I know I keep bringing up this bloody bouquet, but like I had to choose who to throw my bouquet to. The game, in my opinion, should be able to just be like, okay, I'm gonna throw a bouquet and then a sim can randomly catch it, because that's way more entertaining to me as a player than like having to choose who to throw it to. And also the same goes for like throwing rice. Like, yeah, that's a cute interaction to have, but like I would personally much more prefer it if I chose it as an activity, but then like when my sims maybe spousal kissed, or when they were walking back down the aisle after getting married, or whilst they were having their first kiss at the altar. I would much prefer it if my guests actually just threw the rice off their own backs, like off their own accord, and I didn't have to orchestrate everything. It feels like a machinima maker. It feels like a cheaty way just to get all of your Sims in one place and doing the same activity. Also, when you're like trying to hit those wedding beats, I actually really want someone to do a video where they look at like an actual wedding and they tell us the order of stuff to do stuff in the game, because everything just feels robotic. Like, even when you hit those kind of story beats with the actions that you have available, everything just kind of feels like it doesn't flow. I would have preferred it maybe if you could like set a strategy. I don't know how this would work, but like if you could say like, I want this sim to walk down the aisle and then they go and take their seat, and then I want this sim and then I want the couple to walk down the aisle or have an escort. Like, if you could do a running order rather than like doing it in between each interaction, because I feel like as a player it also takes you out of the experience in a way, because you feel like you constantly have to micromanage. And I was there kind of like pausing the game to like make sure someone had sat down and I could send the other sim down the aisle. And it's just, maybe this is just personal preference. I definitely feel like there's going to be people who like that micromanage side of things and prefer that sort of gameplay and like can do all of those things and be in control. Whereas for me, it really just took me out of the experience, because I was like, I just want to sit back and like kind of enjoy this wedding. But again, it is opt-in. So if you don't want to do that stuff, you technically don't have to. There's also like no risk and no reward, I felt, with like any of the wedding events. So there's not really any wedding presents. I did actually get 400 simoleons one time when I actually managed to finish a wedding. I don't know if that was like maybe a little present. Maybe I had like 100 simoleons off each guest. I'm not too sure. I just randomly got 400 simoleons once I finished the event. But like, what I mean about no risk, no reward is no one can like object to your weddings, and there isn't really technically a way to do that even if you have another playable sim in your household. And that's something I feel like I really would have loved to see. There's no really like drama obviously at the batch parties. Like, there's no dancers, there's no like getting drunk in the game, obviously there's no like dancing on the tables, there's no like wild nights out. Even when you do host an event and you choose activities, you don't actually have to do those activities. And even if you don't choose to do those activities in the menu, you can still do them at the event. So like, every option is available to you all of the time. Dress shopping also doesn't take off money, so there's no like risks there. Like, obviously you can go choose your outfit in town, but once you head back out of Create a Sim, like, you don't lose money at all. I really would have loved it if it kind of simulated dress shopping. I don't know, if it had like a price tag in Create a Sim and then it took that money off you like when you actually hop back into gameplay. And I'm personally not like that fussed about honeymoons. I know a lot of people wanted to see honeymoons. I tend to do them unofficially anyway. Like, I'll have my Sims go on holiday. I'll probably, if my Sims get married in Tartosa and don't live there, I'll probably have them go back like every anniversary and just celebrate together. So like, I don't mind not having honeymoons, but I feel like if you're gonna focus on weddings, I feel like the focus also should have gone into those other events as well, because everything just feels the same right now and they feel just like things that we've been able to do just in a repackaged version. And that was my major feedback about Dream Home Decorator. It felt like something that we were able to do for 8 years, but it had just been repackaged and there was like some fun things added here or there, which I very much appreciate. But at the end of the day, it's just like an easier way to do something that Sims players have been doing. So that's pretty much all of my feedback. I will say I very much enjoy how everything is opt-in. I much prefer that to an opt-out scenario, like the activities, the dress code, your own wedding cake, everything like that is opt-in. Which absolutely, yes, big thumbs up from me. Thank you, Sims team, for allowing us to opt into these events rather than opt out. I don't know, I didn't want this to seem like I was just shitting all over this pack, but to me personally, like, I just feel as if I've been doing these things. I will hold my hands up and say I wasn't the most excited for this pack when it got announced anyway, because weddings aren't really my thing. I'm not really that fussed by them. So I feel like if you've always wanted better weddings, then maybe you'll enjoy this pack. But I would absolutely love to hear your feedback. On the front of like whether we can replay this, absolutely, of course. Like, you are gonna replay this. Like, if you have your Sims get married a lot, if you are a family game player, then yeah, you're probably gonna use this at like every opportunity that you have. It's one of those ones, again, that lurks in the background, and when you need it, you know it's there. All in all, I think Create a Sim, Build and Buy, and also the world and the other elements of the gameplay that aren't actually to do with the events, which, yes, there are like little bits here and there that are definitely gonna add to your everyday gameplay, such as the tea and stuff like that. But I think with the events and like obviously having such a big list, but so many things feeling the same, like no drama whatsoever, like you can't object to weddings. You can leave people at the altar if that gets fixed, because I didn't see it in my early access, even though I know that's been in the game since base game. It just didn't appear with the override of the wedding pack. Like, there really wasn't any negativity, any drama, any like range in the events for me personally. I think if you like the micromanagement side of things, then you're probably going to enjoy this pack because it is very micromanaged. That's just not my personal playstyle, and I think everything very quickly could start to feel the same, and you still need like all of your imagination, because it's still that same element of like very cookie cutter gameplay with like no risk or no reward. So for me personally, this one is just a bit of a miss. It just doesn't really play to my playstyle. I would love to hear what you all think though. Thank you all so much for tuning in. There's probably other stuff that you may want to know about the gameplay. I've done other videos on this pack, so if you want to go check them out, they'll be linked at the end of this video. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will speak to you all in my next one. Bye now.